There is a place the ordinary world never speaks of, not because it is hidden, but because it chooses who may see it. Rivers float there, glowing softly in the air. Mountains rise not from the earth, but remain held in the air, as if the sky itself refuses to let them fall. Trees lean closer when footsteps approach. Flowers shimmer as if remembering. Beasts walk without fear, their eyes calm, intelligent, watching. And the people, they look human, but they know something our world forgot. Mark felt the pull long before he understood it. And when the boundary finally opened, the wonderland did not call his name. It simply waited. Then, one night, it began. A dream, vivid and impossible. A figure appearing in silver light. Human, yet shimmering with subtle magic. The voice, soft but commanding, spoke words that echoed in his heart. The path waits for those who dare to see. Step beyond fear, and the world you imagine will step toward you. Night after night, the figure returned, whispering riddles and guidance, visions of lands that defied reason, worlds where magic was not hidden but alive in every leaf, river, and winged creature. And in Mark's chest, curiosity became hunger, and hunger became resolve. Tomorrow he would step beyond the ordinary. Tomorrow he would cross the threshold that separates dreams from reality, and the world beyond would never let him return unchanged. The morning sun had barely kissed the rooftops when Mark awoke, his mind still echoing with the remnants of the dream. The figure, radiant and impossible, had returned in his sleep, guiding him through rivers of silver light, forests that sang, and skies alive with shifting color. Its words lingered in his chest, as if urging him to act. Step beyond fear, and the world you imagine will step toward you. He dressed quickly, though his thoughts raced faster than his hands could move. Breakfast was a quiet affair, punctuated only by the worried glances of his family. They did not understand. How could they? How could anyone understand the pull he felt, the longing to reach something that seemed only to exist in dream and imagination? School offered no solace. The ordinary world felt heavier than ever. Desks, books, and mundane chatter pressed down on him, but his mind drifted to the impossible. The landscapes, the creatures, the promise of learning something more than mere words. And when he closed his eyes, he could still see the shimmer of silver rivers, the play of light across floating mountains, and the gentle hum of magic that whispered like wind through leaves. That evening, he returned home, his heart restless. He wandered to the edge of the small hill behind his house, where the wind carried the scent of distant forests and the faint promise of adventure. Closing his eyes, he let himself drift into thought, and there it was, the dream figure again, appearing just at the edge of vision. "Do you see it?" the figure asked. "Do you hear it? The world waits. Only those who trust the unseen can cross." Mark felt a shiver of fear, but beneath it, something stronger. Courage, longing, and an unshakable certainty that he had no choice but to follow. The stars began to gleam overhead, and he realized that tonight, for the first time, the impossible felt close enough to reach. And in the quiet of that evening, as the ordinary world slept unaware, Mark made a silent promise to himself. He would find the path and step beyond the ordinary, whatever it took. That night, Mark lay awake, his mind restless. A silver thread tugged at his heart, a faint echo of the figure that had appeared in his dreams. In the half-light of his room, he saw it clearly, radiant, bathed in shimmering silver. "Mark," it whispered, If you wish to step beyond the ordinary and enter the magic world, meet me tomorrow at the hill behind your home. The Aurora Bridge will appear, and I will be there to guide you." A thrill ran through him, mingling with fear. What awaited him beyond the hill, he could not imagine. Yet something deep inside urged him forward. Tomorrow, the impossible might finally be within reach. Mark awoke before dawn, the memory of the figure lingering in his mind. Quietly, he made his way to the hill behind his home, heart pounding with anticipation. The figure was already there, shimmering faintly in silver light. "Mark," the figure said, "close your eyes and just touch the surface. You will be there." Trusting the words, Mark obeyed. His fingers met the shimmer of the bridge, warmth and gentle vibration spreading through him. Step by step, he crossed, and with each movement, the ordinary world fell away. When he opened his eyes, the wonderland unfolded around him. Rivers snaked like molten silver, forests shimmered with floating lights, and creatures, fox-like beings with glowing tails, miniature dragons sparkling like living gems, and luminous birds, darted playfully through the air. Human-like figures shimmered subtly, their eyes reflecting kindness and timeless wisdom. One stepped forward, a tall figure with moonlit hair and story-filled eyes. "Welcome, Mark. Here you will learn what your world cannot teach, see what your mind cannot yet imagine, and discover the power that lives within your own heart." The figure guided him through streets of light to a school unlike any he had known. Classrooms hovered above the ground, pulsating with knowledge. Books and scrolls floated gently, offering themselves to eager hands. Teachers moved with calm grace, offering lessons not just in spells, but in harmony, understanding the world, the creatures, and oneself. Mark watched a fox-like creature tug at a floating book, a tiny dragon perch on a classmate's shoulder. Magic was not mere power here. It was breathing, playful, living. He realized he had truly entered a land where wonder and learning were inseparable. As he reached the center, the world opened fully. Rivers of silver wound through floating forests, their leaves glimmering as if each contained a tiny star. Creatures darted among the trees, fox-like beasts with translucent tails, tiny dragons sparkling like living gems, and luminous birds whose wings left trails of iridescent light. And the people, human in appearance, yet shimmering subtly with a faint magic, their eyes reflecting wisdom and kindness far beyond mortal experience, watched him with gentle smiles. One stepped forward, a tall figure with hair that shimmered like moonlight and eyes that held the depth of countless stories. "Welcome, Mark," the figure said. "You have come at last. Here, you will learn what your world cannot teach, see what your mind cannot yet imagine, and discover the power that resides within your own heart." Mark inhaled, feeling the rhythm of the world beneath him. Every lesson, every trial, every creature had led to this moment. He stepped onto the pathway of light, a bridge suspended above silver rivers, leading toward the heart of the world. A massive floating island crowned with luminous spires. The heart pulsed with radiant energy, alive and conscious. It projected visions, past, present, and the fragile balance of the world. Shadows of discord appeared, not as foes, but as lessons. Mark understood. This trial was not to dominate, but to harmonize his own heart with the living magic around him. He extended his hands. Ribbons of radiant energy responded to his heartbeat, twisting and flowing. At first chaotic, they began to synchronize, guided by his memory of prior lessons, wisdom from the Whispering Grove, intuition from the river of reflection, patience from the trial of harmony. Creatures joined, spiraling and weaving through the light. Slowly, energy formed a breathtaking symphony. The heart pulsed brighter, recognizing unity, courage, and understanding. A warm clarity filled Mark. True magic is reflection, not force. Mastery is harmony, not domination. Power is connection, love, and understanding. Ilara appeared beside him. "You have become part of this world," she said. "Not just a student, but a guardian. A bridge between dreams and reality." Mark gazed across the horizon of floating islands, rivers, and luminous mountains. He whispered a vow. "I will honor this world, nurture its harmony, and carry its lessons wherever life leads me." Mark's heart soared. Here, magic was not merely an ability. It was breathing, flowing, living, and playful. He watched as a fox-like creature tugged gently at a floating book, and a tiny dragon perched on the shoulder of a laughing classmate. The world was alive with music, light, and motion, a place where curiosity and wonder were the truest form of learning. And in that moment, as he stepped fully into this world of impossible beauty, Mark realized something profound. He had crossed into a land beyond the ordinary, where every leaf, every river, every creature, and even his own heartbeat was a lesson waiting to be discovered. He had arrived, and the adventure, the learning, and the magic were only beginning. The morning sun spilled like molten gold across the floating streets, and Mark awoke to the gentle hum of the rivers below, each ripple catching the light as if it carried a secret song. Today would be his first lesson in magic, and though excitement surged through him, a soft tremor of nervousness lingered at the edges of his heart. Ilara met him at the school's entrance, her eyes sparkling with quiet mischief. "Are you ready for your first steps?" she asked, her voice a melody that seemed to harmonize with the rustle of leaves and the hum of the hovering classrooms. Mark nodded, swallowing hard, feeling the weight and thrill of what lay ahead. Their first class was held in a room that floated gently above a river of liquid moonlight. The walls shimmered, alive with the whispers of knowledge, and every book and scroll hovered as if eager to be read. The teacher, tall and serene, approached, their eyes reflecting the rhythm of the land itself. "Magic," the teacher began, "is not merely the shaping of elements. It is listening. It is harmony. It is understanding the pulse of the world and responding with your own heartbeat." Mark watched as his classmates extended their hands, and threads of glowing energy rose like ribbons into the air, bending and twirling in beautiful patterns. Some shapes fluttered like birds, others spiraled like rivers. When it was his turn, he felt the weight of expectation, but also a strange, gentle encouragement from the land itself. He lifted his hands, and the energy responded, trembling at first, then forming arcs of silver light that danced around him. A small, fox-like creature leapt onto the ribbon, playfully tugging at it, and Mark laughed, the sound blending seamlessly with the hum of the floating classroom. After the lesson, Ilara led him into a quiet grove where wonder itself seemed alive. Playful creatures roamed freely beneath the glowing canopy, unafraid and full of gentle curiosity. Tiny dragons flickered through the air like living sparks, their wings scattering light as they darted between radiant flowers. Translucent foxes padded softly across the grass, their luminous forms warm to the touch as they nuzzled his fingers, tails swaying with silent joy. Around him, the grove hummed with life, as if every creature recognized him not as a stranger, but as a welcome guest. Then he noticed the trees. heavy with fruit that glowed like captured starlight. Their branches bent slowly toward him, not by wind, but by intention. As Mark lifted his hand, one branch tilted closer, understanding his unspoken wish. The fruit loosened itself and slipped gently into his palm, warm and fragrant, as though the land itself had chosen to offer it. In that moment, he realized this world was not merely alive. It was aware, generous, and deeply kind, responding to desire with grace rather than demand. "You see," Elara whispered, "here, even danger can be gentle. Magic and the world respond to your heart. If you approach with respect, curiosity, and joy, you will find harmony everywhere." The day passed in a blur of wonder. Mark learned to coax light from the air, to sense the rhythm of the rivers, and to guide playful creatures without force, simply through intention. Each lesson revealed something deeper, about the magic, about the land, and about himself. As twilight settled, painting the floating mountains in lavender and gold, Mark stood on the edge of a riverbank, watching creatures leap and play among the silver currents. His heart swelled with a profound realization. Magic was not just power, spells, or incantations. It was connection, joy, and understanding. And the world he had dreamed of was more alive, more beautiful, and more wondrous than he had ever imagined. And beneath the first stars of evening, he whispered to himself, a vow forming in the quiet of his soul. "I will learn, I will grow, and I will honor the wonder of this world." The morning air shimmered like spun crystal, carrying the scent of unknown flowers and the distant hum of rivers that glowed like molten silver. Mark awoke with a thrill he had never known, a mixture of curiosity, excitement, and a gentle tremor of apprehension. Today, he would explore the floating islands, a place where magic twisted reality in ways both playful and profound. Elara awaited him at the edge of the school courtyard, her eyes gleaming like morning dew on enchanted leaves. "Are you ready to see beyond even your dreams?" she asked. Mark nodded, feeling the pulse of the land beneath his feet, as though it recognized his determination. They stepped onto a pathway of shimmering light that arched over the silver rivers below. Each step carried him higher into a world that seemed to defy gravity and reason. Islands floated in the sky, some as small as rocks, others as large as entire forests. Bridges of light arched between them, and creatures, some playful, some mysterious, darted across in a dance of color and motion. Their first stop was a sunlit grove where the greater creatures of the land gathered in calm unity. A young lion rested beside a pool of floating light, its golden mane shimmering as it lifted its head to study Mark with ancient, knowing eyes. Nearby, a gentle elephant moved silently between the trees, its massive form adorned with faint, glowing patterns that pulsed like a heartbeat. Graceful deer stepped lightly across moss that glimmered beneath their hooves, while unseen creatures stirred softly in the air, filling the grove with a sense of quiet reverence rather than play. The trees themselves seemed aware of his presence. Towering trunks hummed with life, their leaves whispering as if exchanging secrets about the boy who had entered their realm. Branches curved downward in graceful arcs, not to offer fruit this time, but as if bowing in welcome, an unspoken salute from the ancient forest. Mark felt it then. This world did not bend because it was commanded, but because it recognized balance, respect, and harmony. But soon came his first trial. A swirling vortex of light appeared before him, a portal to one of the smaller islands. The teacher's voice echoed in his mind, calm yet firm. "Step through, Mark. The island will test you. Not with fear, but with perception, balance, and understanding. Trust yourself, and the land will guide you." Heart pounding, he stepped forward. The island was alive, shifting beneath his feet. Paths twisted unexpectedly, glowing flowers opened and closed, and whispers of wind carried hints of hidden movement. Creatures appeared and vanished, sometimes playfully obstructing his path, sometimes offering subtle guidance. Mark realized that this trial was not about magic alone. It was about attention, harmony, and intuition. He slowed, breathing deeply, letting his senses attune to the rhythm of the island. Step by step, he moved with the flow of the land, following cues only he could feel. The slight pulse of a flower, the gentle nudge of a creature, the soft resonance of the air. At the center of the island, a pool of liquid light awaited. He dipped his hands into it, and energy flowed into him like a river of understanding, shimmering threads connecting him to every leaf, every creature, and every whisper of magic in the air. He had passed the trial. The island pulsed gently, as if acknowledging his success, and a feeling of profound connection settled over him. Ilara smiled as he returned. "You see," she said softly, "this world teaches more than magic. It teaches awareness, harmony, and the joy of discovery. The land is alive, and every step is a conversation if you know how to listen." As the sun dipped behind floating mountains, painting the sky in hues of lavender and gold, Mark stood on the edge of a glowing riverbank. Tiny dragons played in the air. Fox-like creatures pranced along the shores, and the world seemed to hum in celebration. His heart swelled with wonder, courage, and the quiet certainty that every adventure in this land would teach him something extraordinary. Not just about magic, but about life itself. And beneath the first twinkling stars of evening, he whispered a vow to himself, a promise that would guide him through every trial to come. "I will learn, I will grow, and I will honor the wonder of this world, no matter what challenges await." The morning light spilled like molten gold across the floating streets, catching on rivers that shimmered with silver luminescence. Mark awoke with a flutter of anticipation, his heart still resonating with the rhythm of the island trial. Today was the beginning of his formal magical training, the lessons that would teach him not only spells and enchantments, but the subtle art of harmony, perception, and the quiet power of intention. Ilara met him at the edge of the school grounds, her smile both teasing and encouraging. "Ready to see how deep the magic truly goes?" she asked. Mark nodded, trying to steady the excitement surging through his veins. The corridors of the floating school seemed to stretch endlessly, hovering above silver rivers, their paths glowing faintly under his feet. Their first classroom floated gently above a forest of crystalline trees, each leaf pulsating softly, as if breathing. Inside, the students were already gathered, their eyes alight with curiosity and anticipation. Some were human-like, almost indistinguishable from Mark, yet each carried subtle magical traits, a faint glow in their eyes, shimmering strands in their hair, or tiny motes of light that danced around their hands. The teacher, tall and serene, moved among them, their voice carrying a calm authority. "Magic is not about dominance," they began. "It is about listening, feeling, and responding. Every spell is a conversation. Every motion of energy must harmonize with the world around you." Mark watched, fascinated, as a classmate extended a hand, and a ribbon of light spiraled into the air, weaving around a floating orb that danced playfully above their fingers. Another student coaxed tiny motes of fire into elegant shapes, their movements precise yet effortless, as though the magic flowed through them rather than from them. When it was his turn, Mark's palms tingled. He took a deep breath, recalling the lessons of the floating islands and the whispers of the creatures he had encountered. Slowly, a stream of silver light emerged from his fingers, swirling and twisting like a river responding to the touch of the wind. A tiny fox-like creature bounded onto the ribbons, weaving and prancing through them, as though celebrating his success. He laughed, the sound ringing like music in the floating classroom, blending with the hum of magic that seemed alive in the very air. As the lessons continued, he discovered the joy of experimentation, letting light dance through the air, coaxing the playful creatures to join, and learning to sense the subtle rhythms of the land. Magic was not about force. It was about understanding the world and moving in harmony with it. Between lessons, he wandered the corridors, discovering hidden gardens, glowing fountains, and quiet alcoves where the light itself seemed to breathe. He met classmates who would become companions, each carrying unique gifts, quirks, and sparks of curiosity. Some were shy, some mischievous, some radiant with innate understanding, yet all were united by wonder, laughter, and the thrill of learning. By evening, as the sky deepened into hues of lavender and sapphire, Mark stood at the edge of a floating terrace, gazing out over rivers that wound between drifting islands, forests that shimmered like crystal, and mountains that rose impossibly into the heavens. Fireflies emerged from the twilight, thousands of them, drifting like fallen stars among the trees and along the rivers, their soft golden light pulsing in gentle rhythm with the world itself. Shadowed creatures moved quietly through the glow, majestic lions padding across luminous grass, great elephants outlined in silver light, and winged beings gliding silently between the floating lands. Mark felt the rhythm of the world beneath his feet and within his heartbeat, and a profound sense of belonging settled over him. Here, in this world beyond imagination, every moment was a lesson, every breath a gift, and every heartbeat a reminder that he had crossed into a land where wonder was not rare. It was life itself. And as the stars emerged, scattered like diamonds across the endless sky, the fireflies lifted themselves upward, glowing brighter with each heartbeat, until it was impossible to tell where heaven ended and the land began. For in this wonderland, the stars seemed like fireflies of the sky, and the fireflies, stars that had chosen to live among the living. Mark whispered a vow to the world he now called home. I will learn, I will grow, and I will honor the magic and harmony of this extraordinary place, wherever it leads me. The morning air was crisp, carrying the scent of unknown blossoms and the faint hum of rivers below. Mark awoke with a flutter of anticipation. Today was no ordinary lesson. Whispers had floated through the floating classrooms. Today he would face the hidden trial, a challenge that tested not just magic, but perception, courage, and the connection between heart and land. Ilara met him at the school's entrance, her eyes alight with excitement and a hint of mischief. Are you ready for something the land itself will guide? She asked. Mark nodded, a mixture of nerves and exhilaration stirring in his chest. The hidden trial was said to be unpredictable, shaped by the land's own will, and only those attuned to its subtle rhythms could succeed. They stepped onto a pathway of light that arched above a silver river. The land shimmered beneath their feet, as if aware of their presence, breathing in harmony with their steps. At the entrance to the trial, a gate of radiant energy awaited, pulsing softly, inviting yet mysterious. The moment Mark stepped through, the world shifted. The sky darkened to a deep indigo, illuminated by floating lights like captured stars. Trees bent and swayed, not with wind, but with unseen whispers. The river below split into ribbons of liquid light, twisting and dancing as though alive. Creatures he had seen before appeared, but now their forms were more fluid, shifting like reflections in moving water. A voice echoed softly through the space, a chorus of the land itself. "Mark, this trial will show you what lies within. Fear not the unknown, but trust the rhythm of your heart. Only then will you find the path." The first challenge appeared, a maze of floating platforms, each suspended above the glowing ribbons of the river. Some platforms were solid, others translucent. Some shifted unpredictably. Step by step, he moved carefully, sensing the subtle vibrations beneath his feet, listening to the whispers of the wind, and letting his intuition guide him. A translucent fox darted across one platform, teasing him, then vanished. A small dragon hovered nearby, circling with playful curiosity, leaving trails of sparkling light. Every obstacle tested his patience and harmony. He learned that rushing led to imbalance, but calm focus allowed him to move with the land rather than against it. At the center of the trial, a pool of shimmering water awaited, reflecting not only the sky but the essence of his own thoughts and intentions. He knelt, cupping the water in his hands, and felt energy flow through him. A living rhythm connecting him to the trees, rivers, creatures, and floating islands. He understood then that the trial was never about fear or strength. It was about attunement, understanding, and empathy with the world around him. When he rose, the trial shifted, acknowledging his success. The platforms reformed into a pathway back, and the creatures of the trial gathered, celebrating with gentle playfulness. Mark realized that every challenge in this world was both a lesson and a gift, revealing the hidden music of life and magic. Elara appeared beside him, smiling warmly. "You see," she said softly, "this land teaches more than power or knowledge. It teaches harmony, patience, and connection. The true magic lies not in what you command, but in how you understand." As twilight descended, painting the rivers and floating islands in hues of lavender and rose, Mark felt a deep sense of accomplishment, joy, and belonging. The hidden trial had shown him a new layer of the land's secret rhythms, and he knew that many more lessons awaited, each more wondrous, challenging, and transformative than the last. And beneath the emerging stars, he whispered a vow, a promise to the land and to himself. "I will listen, I will grow, and I will honor the wonders and the magic that lives in every heartbeat of this world." The sun rose gently over the floating islands, spilling liquid gold across silver rivers and crystal trees. Mark awoke with a quiet thrill, the memory of the hidden trial still humming in his chest. Today, he would visit the River of Reflection, a place whispered of among the students, a river that revealed not only the magic of the land, but the truth hidden within one's own heart. Elara met him at the edge of the floating courtyard, her eyes bright with anticipation. "The river doesn't lie," she said softly. "It will show you who you truly are and the path you must follow. But remember, it will reflect your heart as much as your magic." The river lay ahead, a broad expanse of silver light, flowing slowly yet powerfully. Its surface shimmered like liquid glass, reflecting the floating mountains, luminous forests, and the first rays of morning. Creatures gathered along its banks, playful and serene, dipping paws and wings into the flowing brilliance. Tiny dragons spiraled overhead, fox-like creatures pranced across the banks, and luminous birds dipped low, scattering trails of sparkling light. Mark stepped to the edge, his heart pounding. As his reflection appeared on the water's surface, it rippled, and the river responded to his thoughts. Memories of his mundane world flickered alongside his dreams, the frustration of his family, the limitations of ordinary life, the longing for something greater. The river reflected not only what he was, but what he could become. Guided by intuition and the subtle pulses of magic he had learned, he extended his hands over the water. Threads of silver light rose, dancing across the surface, intertwining with the reflections. Slowly, the river responded, forming shapes that revealed lessons hidden in plain sight. Patience, courage, and the understanding that power alone meant little without harmony. A tiny dragon perched on his shoulder, its warm glow mingling with the river's light. A fox-like creature nudged his hand playfully, as if affirming his connection. The river of reflection does not test strength, Ilara whispered beside him. It shows understanding, empathy, and trust. Trust in yourself and in the world that welcomes you. Hours passed like minutes. Mark practiced, exploring the river's magic, coaxing light to flow like water, communicating subtly with playful creatures, and harmonizing his intentions with the rhythm of the land. With each interaction, he felt his magic deepen, his awareness expand, and his connection with the extraordinary world grow ever stronger. As the evening fell, painting the floating mountains and silver rivers in hues of violet and rose, Mark sat by the riverbank, gazing into the liquid mirror. He realized the truth of the land. Magic was not in force or command, but in attunement, understanding, and the willingness to listen. The creatures of the river gathered around him, playful and gentle, a living testament to the harmony of this world. And Mark, for the first time, felt the full embrace of belonging, not as an outsider, but as a student, a friend, and a part of the living rhythm of the extraordinary land. He whispered softly to the river of reflection, a vow that resonated in the silver light. I will learn from the land, I will honor its harmony, and I will carry its lessons wherever I go. The morning sun rose, casting golden light across the floating islands, rivers of silver, and forests that shimmered like crystal. Today was unlike any other day. It was the trial of harmony, a challenge designed not for a single student, but for a group, testing teamwork, intuition, and the blending of magical gifts. Mark gathered with his classmates, their eyes bright with anticipation. Each carried subtle magical traits, faint glimmers in their hair, eyes that shimmered, or delicate motes of light dancing around their fingers. Ilara stood beside him, her smile calm yet challenging. This trial will show you not only your own power, but how your heart connects with others. Magic thrives in unity. The teacher led them to a floating island ringed by waterfalls of light. At its center rose a crystalline obelisk, humming softly with energy. You must awaken the heart of harmony, the teacher explained. But the island shifts with every thought, every intention. Only if you work together, attuning to the rhythm of the land and each other, will the heart respond. The trial began. Platforms shifted, rivers of silver light swirled unpredictably, and playful creatures, dragons, fox-like beings, luminous birds, interacted unpredictably, sometimes blocking paths, sometimes offering subtle guidance. Mark instinctively reached out to the creatures, letting his gentle, playful energy guide them, while a classmate extended threads of light that wove together with his own. Challenges arose at every turn: a floating bridge that bent unexpectedly, a pool of glowing liquid that required precise control, and a mischievous dragon that tried to snatch the floating energy threads. Each obstacle demanded patience, attention, and harmony. The students learned to listen to the island, communicate silently, and synchronize their movements. Mark discovered joy in collaboration. Each success sparked laughter, delight, and shared wonder. A small fox-like creature bounded onto the threads of silver light he manipulated, weaving and prancing like a living celebration. The others followed suit, and together, they created a symphony of energy that hummed in resonance with the heart of harmony. At the final moment, when tension and uncertainty hung thick in the air, Mark focused, letting intuition guide his hands, trusting not only his own heart, but the hearts of those around him. The heart of harmony pulsed, glowing brighter with each synchronized motion until it rose, radiant and alive, a living testament to unity, understanding, and joy. The island seemed to sigh in delight, the creatures dancing in playful arcs, and the students laughed, their exhilaration blending with the humming magic of the world. Elara turned to Mark, her eyes reflecting pride and warmth. "You see," she said softly, "the greatest magic is not power alone. It is connection, trust, and joy. Together, you have touched the rhythm of the land itself." As twilight painted the floating islands in lavender and rose, Mark stood at the edge of the crystalline waterfalls, watching creatures play and rivers glow. He felt a profound sense of belonging, courage, and understanding. This was a world where magic, harmony, and heart intertwined, a world of joy, learning, and boundless wonder. And beneath the emerging stars, he whispered a vow to the land and to himself. "I will honor the magic, cherish its harmony, and carry its lessons wherever my journey leads." As dawn painted the floating islands in hues of rose and gold, Mark awoke with a quiet excitement tinged with curiosity. Today, whispers had reached him among the students of a place few dared to explore. The Whispering Grove, a hidden forest where magic held secrets, and the land itself seemed to speak in riddles. Elara met him at the courtyard's edge, her gaze steady. "Few enter the Whispering Grove," she said, "but those who do discover truths not just about the land, but about themselves." Mark felt a thrill in his chest. Every adventure had taught him more than magic. It had shown him the rhythm of life, the heartbeat of the world, and the power of harmony. The grove lay beyond a river of silver light, hidden among floating islands whose bridges shifted unpredictably. As Mark stepped onto the pathway, the trees rose like living towers, their leaves shimmering faintly, as if whispering secrets only the attentive could hear. The air was thick with magic, humming softly, carrying echoes of unseen creatures. Soon, Mark discovered the grove's first test, a circle of luminous stones, each glowing faintly. When he touched one, a vision appeared, fleeting images of his past, his family's worries, his own doubts, and the dreams that had guided him here. The grove whispered riddles, testing not strength but perception, courage, and understanding. He moved carefully, listening to the subtle cues of the wind, the rustle of leaves, and the faint shimmer of creatures that darted through the grove. Fox-like beings, tiny dragons, and luminous birds whose wings left trails of gentle light. Each step required intuition. A wrong move could dissipate the vision or scatter the magical threads. At the grove's heart, a pool of liquid moonlight reflected not only Mark's form, but the essence of his intentions and emotions. He realized that this was a mirror of truth. The land would reveal not power, but clarity. With focus, he extended his hands, letting the magic flow naturally, harmonizing with the pool and the grove. Threads of silver light intertwined with his own heartbeat, and the visions shifted, guiding him toward understanding. The creatures gathered, playful and gentle, nudging him forward with subtle hints. A tiny dragon curled around his wrist, and a fox-like creature pressed softly against his foot. He felt a surge of confidence and connection. The grove was not dangerous, but alive, testing his harmony with the world. When the visions finally stilled, the grove pulsed softly, acknowledging his insight. The whispering grove had shown him the truth. Courage was not the absence of fear. Wisdom was born from listening, and magic was most powerful when guided by heart, understanding, and harmony. Elara appeared beside him, smiling. "Every challenge here," she said, "reveals something deeper. The land tests you not for punishment, but to awaken understanding. You have listened, Mark, and the grove honors your heart." As the sun dipped below floating mountains, painting the sky in shades of violet and rose, Mark stepped back to the river of silver light, feeling a deeper connection than ever before. The whispering grove had gifted him clarity, courage, and a profound understanding that the magic of this world was inseparable from its harmony, beauty, and living rhythm. Beneath the first stars of evening, he whispered a vow, stronger and surer than ever. "I will continue to learn, to honor this world, and to carry its lessons in every heartbeat of my journey." The sky above the floating islands was a tapestry of molten gold, deep violet, and shimmering silver. Rivers glimmered beneath him like flowing strands of starlight, and the air pulsed with the heartbeat of the land itself. Today, Mark would face the heart of the world, a trial whispered of in legends and feared only by those who doubted themselves. Elara met him at the edge of the crystalline cliffs, her eyes serene yet brimming with anticipation. "This is where your journey converges," she said softly. "The heart does not test power alone. It tests understanding, courage, harmony, and the truth of your heart. Are you ready?" Mark nodded, a calm certainty steadying his breath. Mark inhaled, feeling the rhythm of the land under his feet. Every lesson, every trial, every creature he had met had led to this moment. With a steady nod, he stepped onto the pathway of light, a bridge suspended over the silver rivers, leading toward a massive floating island crowned with luminous spires. The heart awaited there, a pulsing orb of energy that seemed to breathe, alive with the consciousness of the entire world. As he approached, the orb shimmered, projecting visions of the land's past, its creatures, and the delicate balance that held everything together. But it also revealed shadows, disorder, discord, and the potential for imbalance. Mark understood then that this trial was not about defeating anything external. It was about harmonizing the power within himself with the living magic of the world. He extended his hands, feeling threads of silver light respond to his heartbeat. Every motion, every thought, every intention merged with the pulsing rhythm of the heart. At first, the energy trembled, chaotic and wild, but he remembered the lessons of the whispering grove, the river of reflection, and the trial of harmony. Calmly, he allowed himself to listen, to flow with the magic rather than command it. The creatures he had befriended appeared. Tiny dragons spiraling through light, fox-like beings weaving among the threads, luminous birds scattering sparkling trails across the skies. Together, they danced in joyous celebration, aiding his harmony with the heart. Slowly, the chaotic energy responded, organizing into a breathtaking symphony of light, sound, and motion. The heart pulsed brighter, recognizing the unity of intention, courage, and understanding. A radiant warmth filled Mark's chest. He realized the truth the world had been guiding him toward. Magic is not a tool, but a reflection of the heart. Mastery is not domination, but harmony. And true power lies in connection, love, and understanding. As the heart of the world shone with radiant brilliance, Mark felt a profound sense of fulfillment. He had crossed every trial, embraced every lesson, and attuned himself to the pulse of the extraordinary land. The floating islands, the rivers, the creatures, and the people all seemed to rejoice, bathing in the harmony he had nurtured. Elara appeared beside him, her eyes glimmering like stars. "You have done more than learn magic," she said softly. "You have become a part of this world, and in doing so, you have understood its heart. The land welcomes you not just as a student, but as a guardian, a bridge between dreams and reality." Mark gazed across the endless horizon of floating islands, rivers, and luminous mountains. A sense of calm joy washed over him, mingled with the wonder that had first called him here. He whispered a final vow, a promise not only to the land, but to himself. "I will honor this world, nurture its harmony, and carry its lessons wherever life leads me. For magic is not the end. It is the beginning of understanding, wonder, and love." And as the stars scattered across the sky, reflecting in rivers of silver and pools of light, Mark knew that he had truly crossed beyond the ordinary, into a land that would forever shape his heart, mind, and soul. The floating islands glimmered beneath the rising sun, rivers of silver winding gracefully between luminous mountains and crystal forests. Mark stood at the edge of a cliff, the wind carrying whispers of the land he had come to love. He had mastered magic, faced every trial, and attuned his heart to the rhythm of this extraordinary world. Yet a soft tug lingered, the memory of home, of family, and of the ordinary world that had first nurtured his curiosity. Elara approached, her eyes warm and understanding. "The choice is yours, Mark. You may stay, or you may return. But know this: the bond you have formed with this world cannot be broken. It will always guide you." Mark looked across the horizon, his heart full. He saw the playful creatures, the floating classrooms, and the heart of the world pulsing in radiant harmony. He felt joy, wonder, and a deep sense of belonging. But he also remembered his family, their love, and the life he had left behind. A smile touched his lips, gentle and serene. "I will return," he said softly, "but I will carry this world within me. Its magic, its lessons, and its harmony will shape how I live, how I love, and how I see the ordinary world around me." As twilight deepened into indigo and fireflies began to glow, Elara walked beside Mark one final time. The air felt reverent, as if the world itself had paused. Creatures had gathered, not summoned, but drawn by instinct. The great lion bowed its head, birds circled once above, and small dragons and fox-like beings watched with luminous eyes, tails brushing the grass in gentle stillness. Fireflies hovered close, their light pulsing slowly, as though breathing with him. Mark turned to Elara, his eyes reflecting the rising stars. "I would never have found this world without you," he said softly. "You taught me not just magic, but how to listen." "You were always listening," she replied. "This world only reminded you how." Mark drew a slow breath and looked across the floating islands one final time. the glowing rivers, the living harmony of all things. Then he stepped forward. The light beneath his feet awakened. It did not merely form a path, it unfolded, woven from starlight, breath, and memory. Silver ripples spread through the air, as if the world itself were remembering him. The land responded in quiet farewell. Rivers brightened like living mirrors. Creatures lifted their heads in graceful arcs, and the heart of the world pulsed once, slow, warm, and knowing. A goodbye that felt less like parting and more like a promise. Below, a luminous river rose to meet him, its current gentle and sure. It carried him onward, not through distance but through remembrance, until the shimmer softened and the wonder folded quietly into his heart. When his feet touched the soil of the ordinary world, he carried no relics, no spells, only understanding, compassion, and a heart forever attuned to wonder. Though he had returned, the Hurya wonderland had not left him, and it never would. Back in his home, the streets and rivers of the ordinary world felt alive with a new vibrancy. Mark moved with quiet grace, his eyes seeing the hidden rhythm in every leaf, the subtle magic in every interaction. He shared laughter, curiosity, and kindness with those around him, inspiring wonder in the lives he touched. Those who loved him sensed a change, a calm brightness in his smile, as if he had returned carrying something precious and unseen. Yet in quiet moments, when the world was still and his thoughts drifted, he felt the pulse of the floating islands, the playful creatures, and the rivers of silver. The land beyond the ordinary whispered to him, always reminding him that magic was not distant. It lived wherever the heart chose to see it. Mark had crossed beyond the ordinary, and in doing so he carried two worlds within a single heart, one of wondrous magic, and one of human love, joy, and connection. And in that harmony, he found his true home. And so, the land beyond the ordinary continues to whisper, its rivers gleaming, its creatures dancing, and its magic flowing in harmony with every heart that dares to listen. Remember, the extraordinary is never far. It lives wherever curiosity blooms, wherever wonder awakens, and wherever the heart chooses to see. Until the next journey, keep dreaming, keep believing, and let your imagination soar beyond the ordinary.